Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. We'll be looking at HTML class. So this is a HTML class, and we'll be looking at extra markup in HTML. So this is the last part of this HTML series, and I'm glad you guys made it up to here. So let's get started. Okay, so this is the answer to the the form exercise. I didn't do the exercise. So I said I was going to put it. So I've embedded it so you guys can check it out. I've put it the forms and this solution and all that. So extra markup. We won't be doing coding. Yeah, I'll just be explaining basic things for you to know. I've already done the code, so I'll just be using it to explain. So in one of our videos I mentioned comments. So comments are basically when you use comments, they don't actually show in your website. So all this start of introduction, blah blah blah, just in case I make an error, because having to wait for this thing to load is something else. So start of introduction, you can't see it here. End of introduction, you can't see it here. So that's basically the purpose. All these you can't see it. So whatever you comment out is not usually in your it doesn't show on your website. So you basically comment by putting a less than sign, exclamation sign, then two dashes and text. And let's look at some things. Let's talk about this doc type here. Why do we use doc type? So basically, because HTML has evolved over the years. You have HTML4, there was XHTML, there was strict XHTML and all that. So it has been evolving. So using doc type declaration is a way of telling the browser which version of HTML the page is using. So that's why we have doc type here. So another thing we're looking at is ID attribute. Well, every element can carry an ID attribute. So it's basically used to uniquely identify that element. But then we move into CSS, you see how it is used, how it can only like style one thing, that kind of thing. So you understand better by the time you start CSS. And using HTML when it had to do with linking, like linking from one part of the page to another. So that's where we made use of ID. They also have class attributes when you have something like class and you put maybe class of main. All right. If you follow my tutorials, I make use of something like this. So that's basically okay. Let me leave it. Main something like this. So that's kind of what class attributes. So class attributes is not so unique. Many elements can have a class attribute of the same class attribute. But for ID you cannot give you can't give more than one single element a class in an ID, the same ID. If you have assigned the home as an ID to a particular element, you can assign home again to another element. But for class, if you assign maybe a class of important to a particular element, you can also assign it to another element. So that's the class works. Mostly use these things when you're styling using CSS. So along the way, I also mentioned block elements and inline elements. So basically, block elements will always appear to start on a new line of window. Examples are H1, your P tags, your UL, and your LI. No matter where you put them, they're always going to start on a new line. And we have seen it from the previous things we've done. Inline elements will continue on the same line as the neighboring element. Examples are your link tags, your A, your B, your image tags, your I, its links, and underlying elements. So there's also something called grouping text and elements in a block. All right. So it's something as we go on in our CSS, something called div. So div allows you to group a set of elements together in one block level box. For example, you might want to create a div element to contain all the elements for the header of your site, which will include your logo, your navigation, and if you practice some of the other YouTube tutorials I've done, you will see that there. So that's just the purpose of div. So, and also div is a block element, so anything within div element to start on a new line. And other than that, it does not make any difference to the presentation on the page. We also have inline group text inline elements, and that's when you use span. So span, this is span here. So span acts like an inline equivalent of div. So it can contain expression of text where there's no other suitable element to differentiate it from the surrounding text. And if you're doing that, you can also style just that text within a paragraph. So that's the way. And the div can also contain span. The next one that I feel is a very cool feature in HTML is iframe. Like I just find it really mind blowing. It might not be anything special to you, but I like what it does. So what's basically an iframe? An iframe is like a little window that has been cut into your page, and in that window you can see another page. So the iframe is like an abbreviation for inline frame. You get that kind of thing. So one common use of iframes you might see into a page maybe for Google Maps and all that. So what I did here using iframe was to put my own website. So when you're using an iframe, as you can see from here, you should have a source of the web of the URL that contains the URL of the page you want to show. Then you determine the height of the iframe and the width of the iframe. They will all be in pixels. Especially like in HTML, maybe CSS you can use rem and that thing. We'll get into that when we go to CSS. Then scrolling attributes is you can also put scrolling. You can put no scrolling. If I put no scrolling is equals to no. I really don't want to. Why I don't want to mess up this stuff. But if you guys should try it out. Scrolling is equals to no. So if I do this, if I comment, like if I put scrolling, I won't be able to scroll. You guys should try it out by yourself. I'm just going to remove it out because I want to be able to scroll. So if I put scrolling, you won't be able to scroll at all. So that's what iframe does. So yeah, I can move in between my website. As you can see, I can check whatever it is, and it's quite nice. So and you also have frame border, which can put the border or whatever you're doing. So that's basically all. Then let's take a quick last look at meta tags and then escape characters, and then we're done with HTML. So basically, what are meta tags? So meta tags are usually in the elements, and I mentioned in our first video, I said meta tags won't show in your web page; they only show in your head. They won't show in your web page. Sounds like anything within the head, won't show in your web page, like title. It won't show in your web page. So whatever is within your meta tag is not visible to your users, but it has a lot of purpose. And one of the purposes it serves is that it tells the search engine about your page, who created it, whether or not it's time sensitive and all. So, and meta tag is an empty element, does not have a closing tag, and uses attributes to carry its information, as you would see. So we'll take a look at some of the meta tags I put in here, such as description. So let's look at this description. What does it mean? So this basically contains the description of the page. I'm going to go to my website. It's going to take a bit of time to do, so I can use it to show like a demo of how I also implemented meta tags in my stuff. So for example, if I want to basically description of what the page is about. So if I send, For example, I'm going to pick something here to send, and you will see how it works. So before I do that, okay, let's go to, let me pick the one I just recently posted. Or let's look at the tic-tac-toe video, for example. So I'm going to click on this tic-tac-toe video, and we're going to do something together. So I'll right click and I'll click on inspect. All right, or rather, okay, let's use inspect. Just try and do this. Okay, why you see all these fields? Because when I'm debugging, I use Chrome. I don't have some of the developer tools installed on Brave. So this is my head, and here you see all the meta tags I have used. I consider meta tags to be quite important. So let's take a look at maybe later on along the way I'll explain what OG means. OG means open graph. So in a situation, have you ever wanted to send something to someone and you see an image pop up when you send that link? That is open graph basically. So they help manage this kind of things. So let's look at open OG description. Just as you imagine that we don't have description there, and our meta tag is just like what we have here, name is equals to description. They kind of serve the same purpose. So here you see my content where I wrote, "Hi everyone, in this blog I'll walk you through explanations on how blah 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 blah." So that's the purpose of description. So but you won't see a regular user who's probably not a developer coming to check here to see, oh, what's our description about. So if I copy this link, I'm going to go to my Telegram and probably send my saved messages. Oh my goodness, Wi-Fi shouldn't do this to me. So what is going to wait till the thing works, so I'll continue explaining other things. So let's go back. Yeah. So if so let me put this like this. Alright. So let's go back to our extra markup. Yeah. So basically I've explained what content is, description is, and I'm waiting for Telegram to load. So let's look at keywords. Why do we use keywords here? So keyword contains a list of command separated words that the user must search to find the page. Alright. So but sometimes it might, like for now we might already have notable effects on how search engines index your site. Alright. And what about robots? So robot helps indicate whether search engines should add this page to the search result or not. A value of no index can be used if this page should not be added. Alright, so that's basically how it works. So author basically tells the author of the page. I took this example from John Docket, so that's why John Docket is here. I think I should put my name, be codes, that kind of thing. So then when you use pragma, it prevents the browser from kicking the page. Alright. That means like storing it locally to save time, that kind of thing. So when keep expires, it kind of resets the date for which the page should expire. That's where the content of the page is expired or something. So and the date must be specified in this format for it to actually work. And what are escape characters? So these are characters that are used and reserved by HTML code. I used an example here of the I believe the left under brackets, which is the less than sign, and these are, I put the images in source code. So for example, this I could have just used this, I could have maybe in my code it will still show. But another way you could also go about that is to use escape characters. So sometimes escape characters can come in handy. HTML may not be so sensitive to some of these things, But if you're working with maybe other things like React, sometimes, or maybe something more complex, you may actually have to use escape characters. So here we have come to the end of our HTML tutorial. It's been a pleasure teaching you. We've gone through almost all of these things, and it's been an amazing journey. We went to structures in HTML, text in HTML, lists, links, images, tables, forms, and extra markup. So thank you guys for watching so far. If you've liked this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Yeah, have an